Welcome to My Opinion here on My Opinion TV. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell. So as soon as a video is released, you'll be one of the first to be notified. This morning our topic is on an incident that took place on Monday in Clarendon, where a robber was killed by a mob in Clarendon. And secondly, an incident that took place in Westmoreland. And all of a sudden, Westmoreland becomes a hot topic these days. Now you can see, based on the incident in Westmoreland, you'll realize that these gunmen are daring. They are fearless. They do whatever they feel pleased. And it's so difficult to police some of these areas. And it's so difficult for the police to get results. But nevertheless, we applaud them as they continue to try to keep Jamaica safe. However, in Clarendon, according to the Gleaner, a would-be robber was disarmed and killed in Rocky Point, Clarendon on Monday. The Clarendon police say at about 8:45 p.m., a couple returned to their house on West End Street in the fishing village to find it ransacked. As they entered the house, a man attempted to rob them at gunpoint. A struggle reportedly ensued with the gunman, during which one of the occupants was shot. The injuries are not life-threatening. The police say residents came to the assistance of the occupants, who subsequently disarmed the gunman. He sustained several injuries during the encounter with the residents. Police patrolling the area was summoned and a shotgun was handed over to them. The would-be robber, whose identity has not been confirmed, was transported to the Lioneltown Police Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Now, the head of the Clarendon Police Division, Deputy Superintendent Anton Gore Cardoza, says an investigation is underway and he's asking anybody to know, anybody with any information to contact the police, as one of its alleged accomplices has escaped. Now, as of November 13, 2021, Clarendon recorded a total of 50 robberies. So clearly, robberies have increased in Clarendon. But we want to send a big shout out this morning to the residents of Rocky Point in Clarendon to come together and to help a resident who was in dire need. Now, in helping that resident, fortunately or unfortunately, they caught up on the robber. And as I've just read, what was the end result? Now, how many of these men don't want to work? They want to rob, kill, and destroy. Now, these people left their dwelling and went somewhere. And when they come back, they find their place ransacked, things stolen. And this hoodlum decided to shoot these people after he break into the privacy of the people's home, right? So we congratulate the residents of Rocky Point. Not to say that we condone mob killings, but when people are fed up, when people are at a stage where they see their hard-earned belongings being stolen, being destroyed, and they can't take it anymore, people will react. And residents in Clarendon, as I said, we congratulate them, and this should be a warning to some of these hoodlums who go around and try to kill and try to rob people. If more people in Jamaica are organized, a lot of these crime situations would be nullified based on the fact that more residents would be on the lookout for each other. However, it brings together the point that when some of these gunmen are armed, it is very difficult, because at the end of the day, each resident have to make sure they are safe first before they can assist someone else. So the Firearm Licensing Authority have to do far much better in allowing legal abiding residents the permission of acquiring licensed firearm, because when persons are at least in the possession of a legal firearm, some of these woodlums would think twice. But because the law doesn't embrace legal firearm to law-abiding citizens. These hoodlums go around and they challenge anybody. They believe that not everybody is armed, but if the government and the legislators put measures in place where anybody can acquire, any legal residents rather, can acquire firearm, a lot of these gunmen would think twice as they try to rob, kill, and destroy. The other bit of news we want to talk about is in Westmoreland. Are you going to see how brazen these gunmen are? A state of public emergency in Westmoreland has been called, and a gunman yesterday walked into an anti-violence training seminar and shot and killed a participant in front of other attendees. How much brazen than that can you get? The United Nations Children Fund Peace Management Initiative Gender-Based Violence Seminar was being held in the Source Center on Barracks Road in Savlamar. One eyewitness said he watched helplessly as the young male participant was gunned down. He said, "I sat down and watched the young man die. I watched every bullet the boy pumped into the young man, and I could do nothing about it." Witnesses say the trainee, who is from one of the violence play community in Westmoreland, went outside to have lunch. Another man just dressed in a red hoodie, red handkerchief around his face, opened fire at the participant, killing him on the spot. Now, since then, the young man has been identified as 22-year-old Shandeen Campbell. There was also another killing in Westmoreland. So Westmoreland slowly has creeped up on St. James. A state of emergency has been imposed down there in Westmoreland, and yet still it didn't stop this hoodlum from walking in a peace management seminar and execute a participant. Now, my question is, when you have things like these, aren't the police supposed to be a part of it? Some law enforcement officer is not supposed to be in attendance? Because if not, remember, these are violence-prone community, and you're trying to get persons who are violence producers or persons who are suspect of violence, persons who are susceptible to these things, to be a part of it. And if these persons are to be welcome, they have to feel a sense of security that they are going there, someone to address issues and talk to them and counsel them. But in this situation, I would have thought that because it's a peace management thing, the police would have been there. Some law enforcement officer would have been there. Well, at the end of the day, they were not there, and the life has been lost. The state of emergency was imposed on Westmoreland, and it did not stop a gunman from taking out a resident. I don't know if Shandeen Campbell was involved in anything. Was he a violence producer? Was he heavily involved in criminality? Or was he involved in criminality and was looking to change his life? But it's a sad story, sad situation, and we hope the persons who were there can identify this man, although it might be difficult based on the fact that he was wearing a hoodie plus a handkerchief. So they have used the COVID restrictions, persons wearing masks, to mask up themselves without being a suspect and taking people's life. We hope that Jamaican people can vaccinate themselves quickly so we can go back to normal life, where the minute you see someone looking like that, it draws suspicion. And how traumatized these people were when they were in the meeting to see this man, Shandeen Campbell, being murdered in their presence. We hope the police will get sufficient information, and we hope the killer will be brought to justice and never see the light of day. But we consistently say that when our justice system needs to be overhauled, because no more should we have persons just pleading guilty and get a slap on the wrist.